Morning, Jill. How are you?
I'm okay.
Good, good.
How are you finding lockdown?
Oh, yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? I am certainly not somebody who does very well trapped within my four walls. Um, but I guess we're week 3 now, so it feels a little bit more like, okay, this is normal, and we've got to try and find some sort of structure to our day that makes it a little bit more normal than it perhaps we thought it was going to be.
I must admit, when it first started, I just wanted to stay in bed and put the duvet over my head.
Oh yeah, me too. Wake me up when it's September.
Yeah, you just want to hide away. Can't quite believe it's all happening.
Yeah, I think it was a bit of a shock, wasn't it? Because, although we were potentially tracking it on the news and we saw what was happening in other parts of the world, I think perhaps we did that British thing of, oh no, that won't happen to us. We'll be, a bit more in control of it. And then actually it all happened very quickly, didn't it? And none of us really had much warning in terms of, well, certainly as small business owners, I didn't factor in a global pandemic in my business plan.
No, nor did I. And we're both at the same stage, aren't we? We're both just after a year of trading.
Yeah, it's been yeah, exactly. I think, I don't know about you, but I was just beginning to feel like my business was picking up a bit of momentum, and I'd gained a really good following of clients and people, and the work was coming in. I was making some money, which was fantastic. And then, I guess all feels a little bit, well, this sounds very dramatic, but a little bit devastating, really, because you've poured your heart and soul into something for a year, and then all of a sudden now it looks a bit different and can't work in the same way that it did before.
I don't know about you, but I'm concerned whether or not when we go back, we'll be starting from scratch. But we won't, will we? Because we'd have already built up our followers. So hopefully we're not starting from scratch when we get going again.
Yeah, I'm kind of feeling quite optimistic about kind of what that will look like in, whenever we go back to normal, whenever that might be. And I'm feeling fairly optimistic because I think where we've done the legwork over the year and, built that following of people, perhaps now is a time to just keep those followers engaged.
Yes.
In whatever we're offering. I mean, I don't know about you, but I suddenly feel like the online world is a bit of a crowded marketplace now, and actually the biggest struggle is knowing how do I slot myself into this, make myself different and unique, but not overload people, because there's so much going on. So I think it's just about keeping in touch with the people that have faithfully supported us through the year, and and I guess hoping that whenever this all changes again, that there's still a place in the market for us with what we had. But
well, you started your Funky at 5.
I did, yesterday. Funky at 5 for me is exactly what it says. Actually, it's let's get funky at 5. So it's 5 minutes a day at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, Monday to Friday during lockdown. And it's very much about just a bit of an injection of fun for people in a kind of crazy time, because I mean, like you said earlier, with the whole wanting to be under your duvet, I find by 5 p.m. I've kind of had enough. I've only had myself to talk to. I'm tired and lethargic because I haven't done much, I haven't been anywhere, and I just thought I surely cannot be the only one who is feeling that way, especially perhaps people who are in lockdown together. There's pros and cons, aren't there, of living with people or living on your own. At 5 o'clock I went live yesterday, and I danced around my living room like a loony and hoped that people would watch and join in with me. And I had a really positive response, actually.
Oh, that's good. So how many did you get then? What happened?
Well, so I think at one point during the kind of, I was on for 10 minutes because, you know me well enough to know that I like to talk. So 5 minutes became 10 minutes once I'd done the talking part as well. But at one point I had 25 people watching, which, for a first day is pretty good. And then I popped the video on my business Facebook page, and within an hour I'd had 280 views and sort of
Wow.
45 comments and some really positive comments, actually. A couple
Yeah.
from people who work in the NHS who just said, I've been at work today and, I just felt really like I hadn't done anything. And you're right, 5 minutes a day is all you need to just kind of make yourself feel better. And
Yeah.
one of them said, I'll be tuning in tomorrow for sure. I'm going to make that time every day.
Yes. Well, I think you're right, because it's just also keeping your name out there as well, isn't it? Because you've been really brave doing that. I must admit, I've been thinking of doing something online, but I'm thinking, oh no, like you said before, it's a crowded market. Everybody's trying to do it. And it's trying to come up with a unique way where people aren't going to think, well, just another one.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think that's the thing, isn't it? We're all, as business owners now, the only option we have is online. So in some respects, none of us are unique anymore. But it's about taking your ethos, your values, your business kind of plan, and seeing, what is in the market and what isn't, and how can I be that gap in the middle. And so, as a dancer, lots of dance companies are offering online dance classes, and I'm doing some of that as a freelancer for some other organizations, and it's great, and I love it, and I think it's brilliant. But equally, everybody's doing it, and so I made the decision that I didn't want to do that, because everybody's already doing it, so why jump on the bandwagon just for the sake of it. So I've made the decision to try and be different in that. I think you should go for it, Joel.
Yeah, yeah.
We've
Well,
all got a USP.
I've always had my plan for my magazine, my online magazine for women, and
Oh yeah,
I've been using that. That's been working on that and asking people to write me blogs. Has not only it's helped me mentally, because I've now got something to focus on through the day.
absolutely.
Now I've got something to do, something to plan, because my PR work that I normally do has fallen away. All journalists are really interested in is COVID-19, which is understandable. But trying to think of ways of keeping my business in there, in people's minds is difficult.
Yeah,
Um,
I think I've learned over the last couple of weeks, because to be really honest, I really struggled the first 2 weeks mentally, and my mental health wasn't great. I was feeling very anxious and thinking, I've got all this stuff that I had planned to do with the business, and now I can't do any of it, and now I've effectively got to, put myself out there. And in reality, the thought in my head was, I just don't want to. I don't care what everyone else is doing. I just want to curl up and wake up when this is all over, and not have to think about it, because it just felt too hard.
yes,
But
I
actually,
agree.
like you say, I've found something that works for me. And actually, I hope that will be the thing that people pick up on, and that makes people want to join in with what I have to offer, because I'm passionate about it. There's no point in putting something out there just because everybody else is doing it,
Yeah,
because
it's true.
you see people's motivation, whether or not I think people can see it or not. The reality is we do. We see what people are passionate about, because when they deliver something, that passion comes through.
Mm.
And so I think, whether it's doing your online magazine or whether it's My Funky at 5, that for us is the thing that we need to use,
Yeah,
to show what we have to offer as a business, so that when it goes back to normal, or the new normal, that people think, oh, I really loved that World Wise Women mag that was online. It was really helpful. I might check them out and see what they're doing now that
yeah,
everything is back.
yeah. I suffered quite badly. Well, I'm still suffering actually with anxiety with everything that's going on. I used to love going shopping. Now shopping
Yeah,
has become such a chore. And I get, but the other day, by the time I got to the checkout, I was physically shaking. I just
yeah,
find the whole thing so worrying and upsetting. And I think people's mental health during this time is, we've all got to take care of our own mental health, haven't we, and find ways of dealing and coping with what's going on.
Yeah, and I don't think there's a simple answer, is there? I think we need to give ourselves permission that this is a very odd and unique time, um, and that we are our own person. We need to deal with it in the way that we will deal with it, and not kind of do that comparison thing of looking at other businesses or other people and saying, oh, they look like they've got it all sorted. Because in reality, none of us have got it sorted. None of us know what's happening. None of us know how long this is going to be.
We don't know what the world's going to look like when we come the other side of it, do we?
No, absolutely. A lot of us, I mean, I'm even doing it. I say, when things go back to normal. Well, I don't think normal is going to be the same as we think it is. Because in reality, we're going to have to be more careful for a bit longer going forward. We're not going to be able to just jump straight back into going into all these big public gatherings, or for me running dance classes, or for you meeting people face to face to do interviews or things like that. It's going to look different.
Yeah. But I think the nice side of it that I found is this community feeling. I've loved how people, friends, we're all caring for one another. I'm having strangers try and help me. There seems to be a nice side that's come up, a kind side.
Yeah, I think people are being compassionate, aren't they? Because we all understand how each other must be feeling. So it's not that that one person is in an awful situation and they've got a few people around them, and so the rest of us don't need to worry. We're all dealing with the same thing, and so I think people, like you say, I think people are just being kind and caring and compassionate towards one another. And I think I'm kind of hoping that with small businesses, that people see it in that way as well. That actually, we aren't like the big giant supermarket chains who aren't going to be affected by this. We're small businesses who have, lives to live and bills to pay, but also a passion for what we do. And it's, the small businesses are the ones that are going to be affected by this in a bigger way. So I hope that, like you say, one thing that won't change, hopefully, will be, people's kindness and thoughtfulness about other people, so that, when we come out of this on the other side, people's attitudes perhaps are a bit different towards, oh, I might choose to shop local now. There's some great businesses, you and I know a lot of people through Radian, don't we, who have set businesses up who are on our course, and I just think, I could go and spend my money in Tesco's and buy, shampoo and conditioner from Lidl's or from Tesco's, but actually I might now choose Switch and Ditch by Hilly Miller and go and use some of her nice products, because I know that she's likely to be struggling, because if I am, so is she. So it's, it would be really nice to see people perhaps have a change of mindset on how we treat one another.
How do you think, because I read a post online, someone saying about we shouldn't be promoting, during this time, businesses shouldn't be trying to make money from it. I don't know if that's right or wrong, because we all need to pay our rents, we all need to feed ourselves. And I also understand that with the big businesses, like you say, the big supermarkets, they're all still making money. And our smaller businesses have got to try and still make some money.
It is an interesting one. I mean, I suppose I haven't given it a huge amount of thought from the perspective of other people and what they might be thinking, but I think, absolutely, our small business is our job, it's our livelihood, and so other people who perhaps work in an office job, who they may still have their job and be doing it as normal from home, or perhaps they've been furloughed. In reality, they're still making money, and the work that we do is no different to that. It's our job, it's our livelihood. I guess it's making that decision about whether the idea of essential shopping, what is it that we're doing? I mean, I have to confess, I had a little look on the H&M website yesterday, and now I'm pretty sure that's not an essential item, but it's a small joy in an odd situation, and so it's nice to have those opportunities. And I mean, the decision I've made from Funk Street's perspective is that everything I'm going to be offering, certainly as kind of on Facebook Live, like my Funky at 5 and online dance classes that people can join in, I'm offering all of that for free. It's
Yes.
it's never been about the money. It's always been about my passion for dance and using that to build people up and help support them with mental health or physical health. But what I've done alongside that is I've created a GoFundMe crowdfunding page and sort of said, you know, I'm not asking for money. I want you to enjoy these for what they are. But if you have enjoyed it and you've gained something, you know, please remember that I am a small business. And, you know, if you felt that you could make a donation or that you'd like to do that, then, you know, you can go ahead. Because like you say, I do still have bills to pay. Just because the majority of the work I do has stopped, it doesn't mean that the business rates or the expenses around the business have stopped. You know, I still have to pay for insurance and my safeguarding and DBS checks to ensure that I can still do something online, and those things don't stop. So I think it's okay to still make money, but it's making money with a conscience, isn't it?
Yeah, I love your idea of the GoFundMe. I might actually use that myself, because I've been offering advice for free, PR advice, or helping businesses get some publicity, or coming up with different strategies for them, and doing it for free, because I felt bad during this time to ask for money. But I suppose a voluntary donation is quite a nice idea.
Yeah, because I mean, it wasn't my idea. Somebody gave me the idea and said, you know, I think you need to be give people the opportunity to help you if they want to. And I think that is a reality that sometimes we forget. There are people who want to help other people. There are people who have the means to do so, and for them that brings them a lot of joy. And it's not about saying that I don't want to deprive people of the joy of giving me money, but it could be that for that person, that's the only way they can help you. They can't get out to do your shopping. They can't get out to you know, to send you a card or walk your dog for you. But they might say, you know what, I can see that this is a really tough time for you and I want to help you out. And maybe that's the wrong attitude, I don't know. But, you know, I think I am offering a service. Say that again?
I don't think there's a right or wrong answer to this.
No, because I think it's so unusual and new that there is no right or wrong, is there? Because none of us know what to do or how best to do it. And I think it's great, you know, I think where we've got gifts that we're able to use and skills that we're able to use, you know, I think that compassionate side of humanity that we hope will continue. I want to use my skills to benefit others in this time. And you know, I'm happy to do that for free, but there's just the reality behind it of also needing to be able to function and live throughout this time.
Yes, and none of us know how long it's going to go on for, do we? You know, it could be another week, it could be another 3 weeks.
So, absolutely, and I mean, who knows? And so we have to start to think about this as a longer term prospect than just a couple of weeks, and therefore that means, you know, working out how do we support ourselves potentially for quite a long period of time.
And help one another, you know.
And help one another, absolutely.
Support one another. You know, the other day you and I both had a phone call, and I was surprised that you had been going through the same feelings that I'd been going through, you know, looking at other people online and thinking, oh, they're doing so well, I'm not doing it, I should be doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, and likewise, I found it really encouraging because it's so easy, you know, comparison really can knock you for six, can't it? But I think the online world is a very interesting one because it's online, you only see what what is presented in front of you. You don't see the kind of turmoil and the struggles and the strains that have gone on behind it. And actually, you know, talking with you and a couple of my other friends who look like they're having a great time online, you know, when I've spoken to them in person, they've said, "Gosh, Leila, you know, I spent 3 hours crying or trying to create that video and it was horrible and I just wished I hadn't done it in the end." But actually, the thing that appeared online looked amazing and it was fantastic.
Yeah.
But the story behind it wasn't the same. Yes, I think communication is key in this time as well.
Yeah. Well, we're all learning, aren't we? We've
Yeah,
all been flung into a situation. None of us had any idea it was going to happen. And now we're all teaching ourselves. So,
yeah,
and we've all got to help one another as much as we can, I think.
yeah, absolutely.
So, anyway, so you're live tonight again at 5?
I am, yep, 5 p.m. Monday to Friday until we're allowed out the house again. So yeah, people can tune in by going to my Facebook page, business page, which is at Funk Street Dance, all one word. And it will be a Facebook Live video. So the aim of that is that you can join in the moment and have fun, but the videos also go onto my news feed on the Facebook page afterwards. So they're there for you to pick up at a different time if 5 o'clock doesn't work for you.
Yeah. And what's your website?
So I have got a website as well. It's funkstreetdance.com. And yeah, I mean, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because there's lots of services on there at the moment that, you know, aren't quite possible. So my Facebook page is kind of more up to date in terms of real time what's going on. But do check out my website because you'll be able to see testimonials and pictures and videos from real life with real humans, so that, you know, when this changes and we're able to go back into kind of running things as I hoped to be able to run them,
Yeah.
you'll get an idea. But there are plans up my sleeve. So I've also launched virtual dance parties for kids, because as an adult, our birthdays kind of get less and less significant as we get older. But how do you tell a child at the moment they can't have their birthday party with their friends because they're not allowed out? So I've today launched some virtual dance parties.
Oh, really? Oh, what fun.
Be able to do over Zoom. So they can invite their friends, join in the group chat video call, and I'm going to be hosting some party dances and bits and bobs. And I say kids, if you're a grown up, you could, you know, have a dance party with your friends. You know, like I say, dance has got some huge benefits.
Yeah. Yeah, like I say, I joined in for a bit yesterday, and when I sat down, I did feel a lot better. So I think I'm going to be joining in today.
Oh, wonderful. That's great.
All right, then, Leila, take care.
Take care, Jill. Thank you so much.
Bye.